Hello and welcome to the Forward Unto Dawn podcast, the show exploring the fiction of the Halo series. I'm David, and I'm joined by my co-host Danny.
Hi, Leo.
And today our special guest is Duststorm from Podtacular.
Hey, how's it going?
And Dust is recording from the field, our live correspondent, because he's actually at E3 right now.
Calling in.
Yeah, so this is your fourth time at E3?
I believe so. Fourth or fifth. I think it's fourth, though.
What's it like actually being there?
So the Xbox press brief is a pretty cool experience. They actually, for the first time, have it in a different venue. It used to be at one of the Performing Arts Center that was south of LA, but now it's actually at the Microsoft Theater here downtown. So it was interesting to see the difference that they had this year for the press briefing. And you have your usual hype crowd. So Xbox Fan Fest has been something that's been going on now for 5 years. It's the anniversary for Fan Fest. So all the people that you see up front in the seats are all the Fan Fest people. That gets all the crowds hyped up and whatnot. And it's really interesting being there. There's a lot of artifacts in there that you get to see that react to people on stage or some of the videos and whatnot that you don't necessarily get. But it's a very surreal experience, to say the least.
As dust is passed by a motorcyclist.
That wasn't a motorcycle. That was
okay.
Two cars that were racing down the roadway.
That guy's booking it. All right, so before we get into the actual Halo stuff, anything that stuck out for the other E3 offerings from Microsoft? Obviously, we got the new console, I guess, teaser for Project Scarlet.
Yeah, I was going to say, we didn't get a new console. We got told about it.
Yeah, it was... I mean, I guess Sony isn't probably going to release it theirs either if Microsoft is being coy. I guess they'll just have a separate event for it? I'm not sure. Or maybe since it's a year out, we're just going to wait until next E3 to get the whole big thing.
Bingo, I betcha.
Yeah, I believe Sony's doing their own thing now.
Yeah. And everyone's basically doing their own thing. It's kind of weird to see how E3's changed so much.
Everyone except Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Although I really assume because they spend so much time talking about how they're connecting all the gamers and stuff, and they also announced a new super expensive Elite Series 2 controller that I really hope that controller works for the new Xbox, because who else is going to buy a super expensive controller this late in the life cycle of the console?
Well, remember, this is still within the Xbox One family, so everything as far as games and peripherals that runs on an Xbox One, Xbox One S, Scorpio, all that stuff's still going to run on these new consoles.
Hopefully. I mean, they say that, and yet I don't trust them until it actually happens. It's because that's not how we've done consoles before.
Healthy skepticism, I guess, right?
Yeah. But so were there any games that you guys were particularly interested in?
Well, for me, once I saw Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk, that piqued my interest.
It was good timing with John Wick 3 in cinemas now, huh?
There was a lot of branding synergy going on in that with the Lego movie stuff with Forza, and
that was unexpected.
Yeah, that was not what I was expecting. Same thing with the weird tie-in Gears mobile game branded with Funko Pops. Not at all what I was expecting.
Yeah, I didn't care for that one.
Yeah, I mean, there was... The big things for me was Ori, which we already knew was coming out, but it looks amazing and gorgeous. And I'm not a big Metroidvania guy, but I love the original Ori, and I'll probably get this one. And then, I don't know, I'm not a big Gears person. It was a lot of sizzle. And I can appreciate, obviously, they're clearly gearing up for next year and the launch cycle. So I can appreciate they're just teasing things. But yeah, if you want... People like gameplay. That's generally how it is. You want your hype trailer and then you want gameplay to go with it. And there was not too much of that, which was a bummer.
Yeah, hasn't been their norm for E3 in the past, but the trailer was interesting. For me, I think the other thing that was kind of, well, the only thing that really stuck out to me was just a lot of the other like xCloud stuff, and it'll be nice to actually get a hands-on feel of it tomorrow. But that's still one of those things I'm excited for, but I'm very skeptical about because there ain't nothing like that direct connection to your console at home. I mean, I even played with my controllers wired. I don't do wireless, although I know that wireless has gotten better, but that's just my preference.
You are the hardcore.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's really going to come down to, I cannot imagine trying to play competitive twitchy shooters on that stuff, but for strategy games and stuff like that. That does remind me, a thing I am personally excited about, though, in the Discord chat as we were watching, Danny or someone else made the accurate observation that Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition looks like a mobile game at this point. Like all those Clash of kind of isometric games.
Yeah.
I'm still excited for it because, I mean, it looks like Age of Empires 2, but it is kind of funny how it has aged badly in that respect.
Well, and it's interesting you bring that up because it's not even the most recent Age of Empires, for one. Two, it still has the very blocky movement. I mean, some of the destruction stuff and the 4K graphics, yeah, it's all nice and everything, but it still looks like an old game.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the Definitive Edition. It looks like what you imagine when you look at it. If you go back to the original Age of Empires, like, oh, well, it's a blurry mess, actually. But it definitely, I think, well, they came out with Age of Empires HD, and so I'm guessing the fact that they are coming out with this is a tacit admission that the hardcore Age of Empires 2 people who are still playing don't care for HD. And so this is supposed to be for them.
I guess I'm just surprised that there's that many Age of Empires 2 specific players.
All right, well, Age of Empires 2 is the superior game in the franchise. There's no arguing about that, Dust. I mean, Age of Empires, the original, was a great game, but it did not age well mechanically at all. Age of Empires 2 is a game you can still play. Like in the original Age of Empires, you could literally lose your units behind buildings. It was kind of rough. Age of Empires 2 was a much more refined experience, and that's the game I spent the most time playing. So I'm excited.
Gotcha.
Except it's not going to come to a Mac, which is going to suck. So I don't know. I might play it in boot camp or something.
A lot of people, even at work, who are especially excited for this. But Microsoft Flight Simulator. That was out of nowhere, and when I saw the bumper for using real-time atmospheric data powered by Azure, I'm like, Flight Simulator? And then sure enough, 30 seconds into it, we saw planes. I'm like, wow, they're actually bringing Flight Simulator, and it actually looks like something that people who have played Flight Simulator before might be interested in. So that was kind of a little curveball out of left field.
Yeah, that's cool for the people who care about that. I know speaking of hardcore crowds that they are catering to, that definitely seems like a niche audience.
Oh, but it's a hardcore niche audience.
Well, yeah. They showed a lot. They showed a lot of different stuff. And I think that's really what they were trying to do. Like everything from, those niche things, Age of Empires, Flight Simulator, Double Fine getting bought up. A lot more zombies than I guess I still expected in the year 2019. It is what it is. People love zombies.
Yes, they do.
But so you were saying, I didn't remember this because I was actually I wasn't watching E3 last year. But so the Halo Infinite teaser was the first thing last year.
So it wasn't technically an Infinite teaser; it was a Flipspace Engine demo.
Okay, you're right.
So I mean, it kind of teased Infinite, of course, but this year was the actual Infinite trailer.
Yeah, so we got a teaser for Infinite and, like with Project Scarlet, a a timetable for holiday 2020, so it's going to be a launch title. And somehow, I guess, like Potato Vision 720p on the original Xbox One or something like that, if it's a cross-gen title.
It'll probably be 1080. They'll probably just dial down the graphics for the Xbox One.
Or I wonder also if it's going to have split screen, because they talked about bringing that back. I wonder if they're even going to have it on the low end, or it'll just be even more mushy.
Would they not have to since they promised it?
I
think
guess.
I think they would. I don't see them not, because if it's something that they're trying to make sure it's going to be supported on the whole family of consoles, and they're pretty much promising that split screen is going to be there. I don't see them supporting it on Scarlet and not supporting it on Xbox One originally.
Yeah. Well, so either way, you're right. The last one was an engine demo, and this is our first official teaser. And I'm leaving aside, we did not get any gameplay to go with this, which some people were upset about. I was not surprised because we're still like a year and a half away. But it was also, this is the only thing I can say in terms of Halo teasers that's close to it is the Halo Reach one. But even then, this one was a bit more of a personal character piece for somebody we have never seen before. And I think that was an interesting choice before the Master Chief shows up. And it's recognizably Halo to some people.
Yeah, this is a very different feel than trailers that we've seen in the past. Even with the tonal change that we got for Halo 4, this really took a left turn, and for me, it kind of left me with the sensation of this is a completely different way that they're introducing a Halo story, and I'm curious and intrigued. I'm not like turned off by it, but it's like, this is a different perspective, because it seems like what they tried to do, and this is just my opinion on it, but it's almost connecting that gap between other kind of minor characters in the universe. Right now it's been focused on a lot of the bigwig, secret operative, super soldier type people, and even ODST kind of had that, this is a very specialized squad who is going in there to do a very difficult task, and you're in the game with the trailer now, you're finally getting a just down to earth character that doesn't have any major role in action or government or whatever. So it's kind of making a new personal.
He's gonna let us know if somebody ordered a warthog.
Does that go 419 to 219?
Yeah. I actually hope that he's not just a random character and that he actually shows up in like that capacity or something. That'd be nice.
But even in Halo 1, you didn't know who the Pelican was. You just knew that she was Pelican Echo 419. You didn't really have a backstory, but with this character, there's a full backstory and a full other purpose for this character that doesn't align with anything else that we've seen in the shooter title.
Yeah,
we've seen plenty of it in the novel.
He gets a family. He gets a daughter and a kid. We're probably never going to see him again, but we actually get. Oh, well, that was all right, so they have it on the Xbox page too. So it's just the pilot capitalized right now. Proper noun. So that's interesting. So the Xbox briefing recap gives the next chapter in 243 Industries' legendary Halo franchise invites players to join the venerable Master Chief in an all-new adventure as he uncovers the mysteries surrounding the appearance of the pilot and the desolate remains of a Halo ring. Which I was wondering before, so I guess that makes it far more likely that what we're seeing is, I don't know if it'll actually end up as in that form in the game, but what a chunk of or representative of something of the opening scene. opening cinematic for the game then.
Yeah, it could be. It makes sense. You start the game off with jumping out of a ship. Sounds about right.
Jumping out of ship. That's what he does at the beginning of games. Yeah, so we went through I think like what Dust was saying, that this is probably a good example of what they mean by spiritual reboot. It's not like they're throwing out continuity, but that they're going to approach it with this time skip to try and make it easy for new people to jump in. So they're probably going to lay down a lot of what's going on in a way that those people won't feel like they're lost.
Why would you feel lost when you start a game off and you're following the books and you're expecting 7 different versions of didacts and you're wondering which didact is this? The new players would have an easy jumping on point, so I'm sure they've learned.
Wait, Dust, have you finished the Forerunner trilogy yet?
I have.
Okay. I was just checking on it.
Oh, with the yearbooks, you're not current?
Oh, no.
I have about 12 books on behind. I actually read through half of Hunters in the Dark on the plane ride over.
Our condolences. Actually, next time I talk with Haruspis, he mentioned that was one of his favorite books on Twitter, and I had so many questions. That's not
an interesting read. The writing style is a little different.
Enough about books that you still have to muddle through and have not gotten to the best part yet. So they give us, like we said, most of the information about this comes from the Xbox article and the Halo Waypoint article. We'll put links in the show notes. I would say there are some tantalizing, there are tidbits, like the Slip Space demo. There are tidbits. We start off with the pilot. He's fixing something. He's clearly stuck on an abandoned Pelican. We get the time skip, actually. I was wondering, too, also how much this will reflect in storytelling choices that spins around him watching his family on like a little hollow disc or whatever, and then he suddenly got a beard, which shows the passage of time. It threw me for a second because they've never really done anything like that in a Halo cinematic. I was confused if this wasn't another person. But he gets a signal. It's Chief hanging outside in space like he does. But then they suit him up and it's all better. Among the little details I noticed, the guy is wearing a classic UNSC logo before it got all fancified and 1970s Soviet issued under 343's watch. Don't know really what to make with that. And then there's also, when they boot up Chief and restore power, there's a huge amount of stuff that scrolls by in his heads up display. One thing we get is a more definite timeline. There was some indication in the Slip Space Engine trailer that there was going to be a time skip up to 2560, and so this makes it absolutely clear. There's a last modified detail in his firmware from September 19th, 2561, and that the armor revision, it's Generation 3 Mjolnir. We don't really know what that actually means. Created by the Materials Group 2559. So that gives us some time frame. And I'm assuming that means we're actually going to get, even if we don't get an explanation in the game specifically, it's a different suit. He did not just transmogrify from his Halo 4 stuff into this.
What happened to the nanomachines?
Yeah. That was another Twitter thing that a lot of people brought up.
I think one of the more interesting things is after that comes up AI intrusion countermeasures. And they specifically reference, for people who have been following along for a long time, the system peril something distributed reflex spider, which if you've been following along for a long time, that is from the I Love Bees Halo 2 ARG. So that's a pretty deep cut.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, that was supposed to be the subroutine inside the UNSC AI Melissa, who gets thrown back in time, who tries to fix her. And I mean, go look up "I Love Bees" on Halopedia. It's confusing. So Danny pointed out that they have the serial number for the AI. There's nothing on the chip. They have Master Chief clearly break out an AI chip with nothing in it that he was holding in his hand. And the AI check in his system diagnostics fail. It's obviously not Cortana because she's not there. I don't know if that means that's another AI or it's supposed to be like like capture Cortana in the chip somehow kind of deal.
Why you bring attention to it? So
To give you thoughts to ponder, just like this. Also, I feel like that AI chip has been getting smaller in subsequent games. I feel like it used to be much larger, and now it is tiny.
Ain't no tech.
But yeah, it's got a different serial number than Cortana on it. I don't know if that actually really relates to anything. I doubt they're gonna introduce another AI that he somehow loses before the game starts, but I don't know. That when he inserts it, it mentions weapon containment device, which is what also makes me think. Also, I played a lot of Myst, where they have books that trap people in them, so that's where I start thinking it's like an AI trap thing.
but there's just a lot more questions. They're doing a time skip. There's a traumatic battle that Chief somehow survives. There's a broken ass Halo, and if you look at the promo art, it's just a bunch of ships at the Halo with the big chunk missing from the background. It's kind
Yeah,
of cool.
no. So they released. I guess I don't know if we know if it's gonna be the box art or something, but it's certainly key art they're running with on the official Twitter. So yeah, it shows these ships. It shows Chief. It shows the Halo kind of in chunks in the background. So I'm not sure if they're going to show something and then cut to this, or we're just going to pick up in kind of like an in media res situation where they're just going to backfill
See, the thing
stuff.
is that what it could be, right? Instead, it looks like the aftermath of a
Mm-hmm.
battle or something. But you know what? What it could be? It could be an accident. Someone pressed like the wrong valve on the ring, and Master Chief was just flying nearby and got hit on the head by a passing space rock.
He does specifically say that we lost the pilot. Although again, you have to wonder what exactly can rip that much of a chunk through a Halo ring, even a Guardian. That seems like small potatoes. You know. Thoughts on Chief's armor? Like it, hate it, whatever.
I am personally okay with it. I know there's a lot of people that like the classic style, and there's a few people that like the new style. I'm sure with everyone wanting an explanation, they'll probably give one, but I'm okay with it.
It's interesting that like we didn't really see much. It looked pretty much like a more detailed Mark 6 in the Slip Space trailer here, but this reminds me a lot of the Mark 4 that he wears in Forward Unto Dawn, where it's pretty much like Mark 6. It's just got a few differences. It's got bigger pauldrons and it's got the 117 splashed on the front.
Yeah.
So I know for all we know, this is like retrofitted Mark 4 or something. Who knows?
It reminded me of the Halo Legends one, actually,
Yeah,
a little bit.
it's a lot like that too. Which I don't know if that was where they got the Halo 4 Forward Unto Dawn one. I'm not sure. But I mean, I hope they explain this stuff. But I'm fine with it. I like elements of both the old armor and the new stuff. Mostly, I just hated that it randomly got changed in Halo 4 instead of explaining it. So if they explain it, I'll be fine.
I've honestly never liked Halo 4 and 5's designs for the Chief. It just always seemed off. This one is just pure fan service. It's like, let's make a Chief that appeals directly to me. Okay, go ahead. It looks the business, honestly. Like, I can't get over how awesome it looks.
I mean, I'm bothered by the fact that it looks so nice. He's got like just one scuff on his front, but otherwise he looks.
Yeah,
Don't
that was
worry.
a little curious.
Meanwhile, his Halo 2 one is like immediately scratched up.
Now we can see the progression in armor technology over time. It gets more durable.
And now I guess he just had a glossy finish on the Halo 2 one and it immediately showed scratches and stuff. Then so you get they repeat that, oh well, we lost, like, so clearly with the pilot's facial hair to explain it to us. Time has passed. I guess he was just floating out there for like a week or something. And we quote unquote lost. And then we get a giant beam of light, which reminds me of, I assume it's supposed to be like it's the light that the Guardians shoot out at the end of Halo 5 and stuff. That's what
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It has to be something to do with that. But how do you get from that to Chief on the Halo? Nothing about that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. But Chief is not going to run, he's going to fight, and so they open up the back and he jumps out. We get a kind of Reach-esque looking assault rifle, which I'm kind of bummed about because I think the Halo Reach assault rifle sucks, but what are you going to do? But he jumps out the back because that's what he does. And then we get a little tag with Cortana and what appears to be the Halo control room. Actually really reminded me a lot of the CEA one. And a little reference back to the Fall of Reach and also Halo 3 about picking Chief.
Do you notice as well he's taking the chip out of his head?
Yeah, he's gonna lasso Cortana.
But the looks of things, yeah.
Yeah, and this specifically, so there's a bouncy blue ball of light that looks a lot like a manifestation of an AI in the control room, and this is also after whatever happens, because they show the Halo ring splintering. So I don't know how late this is in the game or whatever we're supposed to think about it, or if it's just going to be a tag with no direct relevance or not.
Yeah, that one took me a little off guard a little bit with the whole Cortana tag thing.
I don't know if it's going to be one of those things where it makes me slightly worried, just because there are all these people upset that Cortana went bad, and I think the absolute worst thing 343 could do would be to backpedal on that, and yet that makes me
I'm
ever
not
so slightly
worried about them backpedaling. I'm worried about the fact that this is the third game where they play up the Chiefs' relationship to Cortana. I was like, oh, not again. Don't rehash this crap again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, more character stuff is never unwelcome to me. It's just, how well is it done?
It's just a repetitive theme. Like, it was prominent in 4 and 5. This is the first trailer for this game, and it's prominent in this at the end. So it's like, do you have to tell all your Halo stories through this filter of their relationship? Like, the ways then? And how they're saying this is what the foundations of it is?
I mean, there's no reason for Chief to really be the focus of Halo, but he still is, because people cannot get enough of Chief, even after they could have ended his story and it would have been fine. So
And because Chief is the focus, Cortana has to be in there.
Well, they
Like,
did.
you have to come as a package.
I mean, spiritual reboot or not, they have to deal with what they set up, whether or not you like what they set up. So I feel like they should at least do that. The worst thing they could do, really, is what some people want. It's like, oh, just wake up, Chief. It was all a dream. So they have to deal with that plot somehow. And I want them to actually make it the focus instead of just skipping it along, because that's another way to annoy people. People got upset that they killed off Jewel Madama in the first cutscene and stuff like that.
That was absolutely hilarious. I remember the initial reactions to that.
I was totally fine with that. My complaint was that he went out like a chump. Like, that should have been a gameplay sequence, and he should have actually like put up a fight. But that's just me.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I mean, so there's not a whole lot in that trailer. Obviously, there's more little tidbits. I can see why people are disappointed, and that doesn't give you more to bite on for the story. But again,
But yeah, I think it was pretty telling. They ain't gonna show us anything. They want us to keep the faith, have a reminder there's some good stuff coming. The little tiniest of morsels, but saying, look, here, it is coming. It's gonna be good. And now they've had this extra time to develop it.
there was believe spelled out in the hex code.
Yes, there was.
Is-
Yes.
Well, they also, I mean, they mention at the end of the Halo Waypoint article, until next time. But they're still gonna get a fighting. And as for what's next, E3 2020 will be a big moment for Halo Infinite. Which makes it sound like we're not going to get anything major until then. So for the next year, we gotta chew on this, and then whatever comes out in the expanded universe.
Yeah, it sounds like they're spelling it out. They're like saying, get ready for it. It's gonna be a long wait, but it'll be worth it. And I'm inclined to say, yeah, it probably will be actually.
I mean, there'll be the multiplayer fighting.
Mm-hmm.
We might not get anything significant at all.
We might get the multiplayer fighting at E3 next year. That'll be a good time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, from the live stream that they had earlier this year, they're looking to start flighting probably later this year.
Wow. Okay. That's
I mean,
cool.
because they say we still intend to support an early flighting program that will give you a way to play the game and provide feedback that will directly impact decisions we make for launch and into the future. And it's definitely true that if they release it at E3, that's like mostly balance and sandbox changes you can do at that point. You can't do anything substantive to the game at that point.
And after how well the Halo 5 fighting went, they kind of had the perspective of they want to have flight, or basically a beta that goes out early enough, similar to that time frame. So at least like around 9 months, that gives them the chance to actually go through things.
So maybe we'll hear or get something to actually play earlier in 2020. I don't know.
Just don't forget, well, there's a difference between a marketing beta and an actual beta or alpha, whatever, you know what I mean? So if they're serious about it, they're going to need a lot more run-up time, because those public betas are just glorified commercials.
Well, so it sounds like they're going to do something similar to what they've done with the MCC flighting, and that there'll be waves of certain people that get like the early access that might not be streamable, and they'll slowly expand it to more and more people depending on what things they need tested.
Yeah,
that's kind of the that I get.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful. I mean, 343 has really doubled down after the Master Chief Collection and Halo 5 on flight early, flight often, and putting stuff out for people to test. So I'm pretty hopeful they'll continue that.
I don't see not at this point.
One thing, one tidbit that did not get called out at all, but is in the Halo Waypoint article, is we have our new composer. Because Janucci left. We got an announcement that he wasn't going to be returning. And so our our new composer. They go given the enormity of the score's importance and scope, we want to hire a team with a specific working sensibility, blah 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 blah, familiar and yet different. And so they're introducing Curtis Schweitzer, he composed all the music in the trailer, and the music for Halo Infinite. I mean, there wasn't.
Can I just say the music in the trailer was pretty decent?
Yeah, it was good.
I
mean,
really good. Especially those drums. Those drums started kicking in after the piano bit. I was like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah, and I think there wasn't a lot to go on in that. A lot of it was hitting. Like, we got the piano sting from Halo 3. We got the beginning of the Halo theme. Stuff that was specifically calling back to old stuff. So there wasn't a whole lot, but what was there, I enjoyed. The drums, they're clearly the Halo, but they were substantially different at the same time. So I hope that gives a sense of, hey, we're gonna pay homage to the old stuff. We're not going to be slavish to it, which I don't think has been a problem.
I'm just saying. I got chills, just spider sense going off about Silent Photographer, just hearing that. Like, they're hitting the right notes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In terms of reaching their audience, at least me in this case. So I love it.
I think this entire thing, especially with, it's funny to say considering we were just talking about how it's such a different trailer than what they've done, but it's also 100% targeted about reassuring old people and getting casual people on board. Like, they're focusing on, hey, this is continuing the story. Don't freak out, people like Forward Unto Dawn. But this is going to be the perfect jumping in point if you haven't paid attention in Halo in a while. And here's some old music and old Mark 4, 6, whatever for you to look at.
I don't think 343's problem's ever been like not conform to the old stuff too much, but it's like how much new stuff do they throw into the mix? So it seems like they're trying to find that balance of, okay, how much new stuff do we keep, but how much do we want to harken back to kind of what Halo's been known for, I guess, in the past.
I really hope they run hard into the nostalgia, because it works. It play to your strengths, play to your legacy and appeal to the fanboys. Come on. We all want our favorite Wii toys back.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's Halo. By the time this comes out, Infinite is gonna have to hit. It's gonna have hit after like Doom and a bunch of franchises that have really pulled the spiritual reboot kind of card in terms of going back to basics. And I think they're trying to do the same thing, hopefully with as much success.
That Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Oh, that's a great name.
Everything old is new again.
Kind of like I said before, it gives a very intriguing viewpoint to it, not necessarily in a bad way, but in a different way.
Yeah, I think we'll have the same, another year of exciting arguments about the same stuff, which is a downside, but I'm still excited about this game. I'm super hopeful for it. Hope people can enjoy it.
I'm just really excited about the fact that they get extra long time to make the damn game. I know what it's like. The more time you have, the better sometimes. And getting out of that 3-year cycle, I think, was really important.
I don't complain about a lot of the Halo stuff, but I think especially from an overall package standpoint, what has hurt Halo 4 and Halo 5 especially was that they just didn't ship with a bunch of stuff. That they didn't ship with Forge, that they didn't ship with some game types. I think this obviously is a story trailer, but that's where I'm most excited about the dev time, is that I'm hopeful that, hey, they're going to rebuild this up. It's going to be fast. It's going to be responsive. It's going to be great. But it's just going to have more stuff to start with. Because the Halo community is great at providing longevity with what you give it. You don't need to drip feed things. Thanks for joining us on this impromptu stand, Dust. Enjoy the rest of your E3.
Sure. Thank you.
Because you'll actually get to play stuff. Not Halo, but
I
other
get to
things.
play Reach on PC tomorrow.
Okay.
I am jealous. Have fun, dude.
You know I will.
Yeah. So that wraps it up. Thanks for joining us. You can get the show notes and links for this episode, as well as articles and more, will be found on our website, forwardandon.com, and you can subscribe to the podcast via iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, and follow us on Twitter or catch episodes on YouTube by following the handle @ForwardDon. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.